I want to welcome you to the Engineer Your Success podcast. I'm your host, Dr. James Bryant, and it is my pleasure to have you here listening on the show. This podcast provides tools, tips, and techniques to help you achieve success both in business and in life. It is my pleasure to help you win at work and at home. So, today is going to be a very special episode. It's going to be a solo episode. I really wanted to have another solo episode so that we could connect and I could provide some updates as to some things that have been going on in my world. Update number one: on July the 19th, we produced our 52nd podcast episode. So that is our 1 year pod adversary. And I would not be here if it were not for you. So it's a whole list of thank yous that I have. And I know I'm not going to get everyone, but number one, I want to thank my family, my wife, Melba, my son, JT, and my son, Nathaniel, as they have been here with me, listening to me record, giving me suggestions for improvement. I knew in July when there were 4 downloads, it was me, my wife, and my two boys, but they've been here the whole time. And so, guys, I want to thank you for your support. I also want to thank my best friend, business partner, Jerome Myers, who has absolutely been there for every step of the way in my podcasting journey. I want to thank our longtime sponsor, Bandwidth Marketing. They helped set up the website. They helped me with other marketing advice. And so I really want to thank you guys for everything that you've done, Sarah and the team. Also, Streamlined Podcast is the company that I use to produce my podcast. If you're interested in producing or starting your own podcast, check out Streamline. These guys, they provide a great service and they help to create the sound that you hear every week. So everybody, I want to thank you, and the listeners as well. Thank you. For if you weren't listening, then I wouldn't be here. So I wouldn't be adding value. So thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to listen to the show. What else are we celebrating? Let's see. We started, we restarted the blog. So we're doing weekly blog posts now, as well as we restarted the email blast. And so you'll be getting email updates, weekly blog updates. We started a social media series called Ask James Anything. And here, any business problem, any situation that you are working through, there's the ability to click, go to a voice form, and just record your question that you're asking me. The intent is to take that information, roll it up, and then have a special podcast show or a few podcast shows where what I'm doing is actually responding and answering those questions that have come in through Ask James Anything. So if you're follow me on social media and you see Ask James Anything, click the button and ask. The other thing that I want to celebrate is the growth of the Engineer Your Success business page on LinkedIn. We started the year with a little under 200 followers. As of August 1st, we have over 600 followers. And so I want to thank everybody for their support in everything that we have been doing. So today's show, other than the updates, I wanted to kind of begin to work through answering or having you answer really two questions. And the first question that you ask yourself is, am I focused on the right things? The second question is, am I willing to pay the price for the success that I want? So we're going to really hit this first question. First, are you focused on the right things? So you can say, James, of course I'm focused on the right things. That's why I'm successful. There are other people that are thinking, James, I have so many things that are going on, so many things that I want to achieve, and I want to do them all. So how can you ask me to actually focus on one of them? And then there's a few people that are saying, I don't know what I should be focusing on. We talked a little bit about this in the on-ramp session that we had in June, which is closing the execution gap. And Here, it is when you are focused on a particular goal, sometimes you lose sight of the things that you need to do to actually achieve the goal. And that can get in the way of you actually executing. So when you're too focused on the end goal, you may lose sight of the daily habits or activities that you need to do to actually help you achieve that end result. So it's really learning to celebrate the lead measures, not just the lag measures. So the easiest example that I can use for this is weight loss. So most people tend to focus on the lag measure, and that is the weight. What does the scale say? By the time that you take your weight measurement, there's little or nothing that you can actually do to influence that result. That is a result of right now, right? It's happening right now. But the things that influence that result were the actions that you took the weeks, the days before you actually got on the scale. Those are the lead measures, consistently looking after your nutrition, your sleep, your physical and mental activity, right? Those are the things that those habits are the things that lead up to the end result. I know in my own journey, what I found is that in order to conquer the scale, you have to conquer the kitchen. Your nutrition is key to getting your desired result. And you also have to begin to peel away and conquer your eating habits and why you eat when you eat. So for me, I like to snack late at night. I could be listening to an audiobook. It could be something that's educational, a coaching resource, or some kind of leadership training resource. And I'm just sitting there snacking and snacking and snacking and snacking. But I had to ask myself a question. Is that behavior actually moving me closer to my goal? Because I'm focused on losing the weight. I'm focused on the end goal. And what I would say is that I'm snacking now, but I'll make it up tomorrow and it'll be okay because I know I have X amount of time to actually get to the goal. What I found is that this really wasn't really successful for me. It really wasn't until I began to track and focus on the daily habits that I began to actually see results. And so conquering the scale, you have to conquer the kitchen. And in order to conquer the kitchen, you have to conquer the mind. And that means that if there are foods or things that you don't want to eat, don't buy them. So there's several choices that you have to do in order to achieve your goal, right? So you've probably heard a version of the quote, "What gets measured gets done." It means that regular measurement and reporting helps to keep you on track. So I think what you measure has your focus, and what has your focus receives your energy. And where you put your energy are those areas in your life that actually grows. So, I'll end this part of the talk with don't fall into the trap of only celebrating the end result. Learn to celebrate doing the work that's required to produce that end result. So, another topic that I want to cover this week is the power of personal accountability. This was the focus of the July on ramp session. And the key question here is, are you willing to actually pay the price for your success? So I've talked about the on ramp for June. This one is the on ramp for July. The on ramp meeting that's scheduled for August, we're going to be talking about building your vision. And we're going to go through the importance of having a vision, creating a vision for your career and for your life, and some suggestions and steps on designing an actual vision board. It's going to be a really cool meeting. Again, it's a small group meeting, limited to 12 participants. And we're going to go through this whole visioning exercise and hope that you are able to make it. That's going to be on August the 16th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time. So the July on ramp really focused on the power of personal accountability. And the question here is, are you willing to pay the price for your success? Successful people have one thing in common, and no, it's not just that they're successful, it's that they're willing to pay the price for their success. So that means they're making sacrifices, working hard, they endure setbacks, they're not allowing failure to control the narrative. It's not easy, but it is worth it. And for them, there's no substitute for continuing to push toward that goal, right? There's no substitute for continuing to put the work in to help you accomplish that goal. So if you want to be successful, you have to be willing to put the time in and the effort. There are no shortcuts or an easy path to success. There are things that you can do to compress the time that it's going to take you to become successful in certain areas. Say, for instance, if you are looking to win at work and at home, you may consider hiring a coach that can help accelerate that process for you. Or if you're interested in doing a podcast, you may hire a coach or a consultant that can help really compress the time. But it all goes back to, are you willing to pay the price for the success that you want? And that price can be monetarily, it could be time, it could be on your efforts. And nobody, absolutely nobody achieves success without experiencing some bumps on the road. Of course, the key is that you continue to learn from those things that happen. And so, personal accountability, in that session, we talked about how what's the key to your success, or the missing key to your success, because it's what allows you to continuously improve and to reach new levels of performance. When you have personal responsibility for your own actions and results, you're more likely to be successful. So that means that you're setting personal goals, holding yourself accountable, and you are really just focused on that personal accountability, right? Because when things get tough, being accountable to yourself helps to keep you on track. And so the other thing that you can do is find some people that's in your circle that you can confide in that can help keep you accountable. So, in terms of the definition of accountability, it's according to the dictionary, a definition of accountability or being accountable is to be able to account for one's actions or decisions. In other words, being accountable means being able to explain and take responsibility for your actions. So when we think in our society, a lot of times we're surrounded by excuses. It's not my fault, it's my circumstance. I don't have the career that I want because I'm not working on the technology that I want. I don't have the career that I want because I wasn't able to get into the right school. Or that person might not even say that I wasn't able to get into the right school. They would say that the school that I wanted didn't choose me. And so those excuses begin to give away your power. It gives away your agency, and it allows you not to take responsibility for your circumstance or your actions or the things that led up to that circumstance. When you're personally accountable, those excuses go out the door. There are no rooms for excuses and accountability. You learn how to take control, how to take agency over your life and over your decisions, understanding that that is the thing that is going to make the difference in your success. So, there were a few things that we talked about during that session that help with personal accountability. One was finding ways to keep a journal, whether it's writing down your goals, but also the habits and the things that you're committed to actually achieve that goal. Another thing we talked about was creating a vision board, which is that visual representation of what you want to achieve in life. And that just serves as a visual reminder of what you're working for, right? Here are the things that I'm doing because I want to set this situation. This is the vision that I have for both my business and my life. This is the vision that I have for my career and for my family. And being able to have that visual reminder, it just continues to give you the message that this is what you are working for. And that can also help to keep you or hold you accountable. Another way is, sharing those deadline, making deadlines and sharing them with the people that are in your circle that are going to help hold you accountable. Because when you don't set the deadline, there's no clock ticking, there's no sense of urgency. When you set a deadline and say, this is what I want to do, then you can begin to build in what are those activities and actions that I need to do to be able to achieve that goal. So, again, I invite you to come to the next on ramp session, which is going to be on August the 16th, where we are going to be building your vision. I hope that you've enjoyed this brief solo episode. It was really nice reconnecting with you. If you have any comments or questions, you can use the link in the show notes, and that'll take you to an area where you can leave your comments. You also can leave a review for the podcast. And I'm going to end this podcast like I end every podcast. Many people know what to do, fewer people know how to do it. And there are a select group of people that actually follow through, do it, and live the life of their dreams. I hope, and it is my desire for you to be part of that select few. Be great this week.